and their souls were eaten. I loved my sister. I didn't know. I said the words my mother said after my grandfather died. The old speech was strangely easy for me to say, even though I didn't understand the words. Later, much later, I learned what they meant. Give your soul to me, and I will carry it in my heart of hearts. I will carry you all my life. I will carry you to the other land. That was the day I discovered I had the gift. That was the day I ate my first soul. 1 week later, I kissed Mother and left Scarsdale to make my own way in the world. I left Mother alone. It wasn't just because she asked me to, but because I was a coward. I travelled alone for the same 2 reasons. Every so often I encountered a soul eater, powerful enough to see that I carried 2 souls instead of 1. They always knew instantly that I was a soul eater shirking my duty. Whenever it happened, I walked away, like my mother had told me to. I walked from one side of Britain to the other, and back again. Unfortunately, I couldn't walk away from myself, or from the silver coin my mother gave me, a coin marked with the circle and flame emblem of the Soul Eater. It was more than silver, more than a symbol of my duty, more even than a constant reminder of the complicated relationship between Mother and myself. It was one of Europe's rare pieces of magically activated metal. As activated silver, it enhanced my body's own ability to heal. I'd sewn a tiny pocket into the inside of my linens at the hip and kept the coin there, where the part of the metal touched my skin. I kept walking from town to town, working, hunting, or begging for my keep each day. As a soul eater, I had a natural affinity for healing, which often helped me earn a few meals, especially since it was helped along by my magically activated silver. Mother was wrong. I couldn't hide forever. Mother wasn't often wrong, and it threw my world sideways when she was. Great One, the woman in front of me said again, louder this time, snapping me out of my memories of Scarsdale. I bit down the urge to tell her not to call me that. If she wanted to honour an untrained, pimply-faced stranger younger than her dead son, that was her right. Please, Great One, she said, there is no one else who can perform the soul-eating rites for the newly dead. Please, carry my child to the other land. I've never studied at the soul school, I told her. I don't know what to do. She blinked, wavering, and for a moment I thought I'd escaped my duty one more time. Our Great One is yet to be replaced, she said. You are all we have. Please, I said, what if, when I die, I cannot find the path to the other land? Nonsense, she said, suddenly finding herself on familiar theological ground. All soul-eaters know it when they see it. Besides, I most certainly will not carry my son's mouldering corpse to London to beg for aid there. I wasn't sure whether the begging or the decomposition was more disturbing to the famous Lady Mayor of Hollowvale. Perhaps it didn't matter. Instead of meeting Mayor Valley's eyes, I stared at the young man, Adam Valley, who'd run afoul of a wild boar and died of his wounds. His mother, maidservant, had washed him and dressed him in clean linens, but he was already attracting flies. The mayor's house smelled warm and old, like the rotting floor of the forest creeping down the hills all around us. The dead man was laid out on the large flat surface, the kitchen table. His own bed linens had become his shroud. "Eat him," said Mayor Valley, low and fierce, "or I'll make you regret disobeying me." "All right," I said, "I'll do it." The silver coin hidden beneath my shirt warmed in anticipation. I tried to hide my shock. I was unaccustomed to any form of magic, but especially to the rare magic occasionally found in certain metals. Mayor Valley wasn't paying any attention to me. She opened her son's shroud without flinching at the wounds. I stood and rested my palms on the dead man's bare chest, wondering if I still remembered the words. Touching his body was like touching a wax figure. I shivered and closed my eyes. The old speech filled my mouth as if it had never left. "Give your soul to me, and I will carry it in my heart of hearts. I will carry you all my life. I will carry you to the other land." Adam Valley's soul crept up my fingers, heating them with a gentle warmth that increased quickly until I cracked open my eyes to be sure I wasn't burning alive. Something like a spark jumped from his skin to my fingers, and the pain spiked. Mayor Valley glared at me, and I bit my lip, vowing to keep a respectful silence in future. The searing pain settled and faded away to nothing. I felt a brief sense of heaviness on the left side of my chest, and then my body felt perfectly normal once more. It had worked. I'd eaten Adam's soul. I stepped away from the body and gave Mayor Valley an awkward bow. She had the bearing of someone who liked to be bowed to. The magically activated tin panel on her door binged loudly to indicate the arrival of a friendly visitor, but Mrs. Valley didn't move. Her maidservant hurried to answer it, scrubbing her face with her hands. In an effort to hide the tears lingering there, she returned in a much more decorous fashion to announce a Miss Mary Valiant. "My late sister's child," Mayor Valley said to me, and nodded permission for the maidservant to show her in. The woman who came in was my age, wearing a linen smock and carrying a basket of fresh bread. She greeted her aunt and I, and then paused as she realized she couldn't set the basket down on the kitchen table. After a moment's hesitation, she opened the wooden cupboard and put the bread inside. Turning back, she touched her dead cousin's arm gently, as if to wake him. I kept my mouth shut, with a supreme effort, knowing I lacked the people skills to give her any comfort. She smiled at me as if the tears on her lashes were nothing but an illusion. My father has prepared a bed for you, she said, and we've plenty of food for a stranger who's done us all such a kindness. Call me Mary. I'm not one for familiarities. Nonsense, Mary, said Mayor Valley, moving towards me as if to grab hold of my wrist before I escaped. The Great One will stay with me. Each woman turned her steady gaze on me, and I realized they were waiting for me to choose.